Welcome to the Top 10 Garden Show with Ken Lain. Listen to Ken's tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts guaranteed to make your gardens more beautiful than ever this year. Now welcome your host, Ken Lain.
And we are back on The Mountain Gardener. I have a special guest. This is the beauty of having a studio right here at the garden center. When our chaplain comes in to the garden center, goes, Steve, you've got to come share what's going on here at Waters Garden Center. Why are you doing this? What's going on? People want to know. It's super unusual for companies to have company chaplains. You've been our company chaplain here at the garden center for 3 years.
It's going on 3 years.
It's like COVID started and you were
Right.
the best thing that happened. You got us through some hard times.
Yeah.
So Steve Button is with Marketplace Chaplains. I get that right?
Right.
So you retired here, but you decided to do this gig for us as well. And so
Right.
you come in and I don't know, once a week, every so often, and you just see how my team is doing.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and so why don't you just share a bit of your story? Where'd you come from?
Okay.
And how did you become a company chaplain? What does that even mean?
Well, my background is that of a pastor.
Okay.
I pastored for 40 years, primarily in Southern California. I moved from Ventura out here. Came out in 2020, January 2020, just in time to have everything shut down.
Yeah, right.
And one of the first things I did, apart from getting rid of my license plate and getting the Arizona license plate,
Yeah.
I volunteered at the hospital as a chaplain. And I found out about one of the people in our church used to be the secretary for the man who started Marketplace Chaplain. And so she recommended me to Marketplace Chaplain. So they contacted me and said, would I be interested in doing that? And since my being retired doesn't mean I stop. I want to continue to serve the Lord. And this I thought was a good way of doing it.
Sure.
As well as being a pastor, I had spent many years in the business world. I've managed a bookstore. I've been a courier for a company. My most recent gig, if you will, was working with a radio station, a Christian radio station. And so it was just a natural thing for me to become associated with businesses. And I thought the idea of having someone that would go to a company and provide services for the mental health of a employee was a good fit.
Yeah.
Because an employee does not work well if their mind is somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so the purpose that I have is just giving them someone to vent, someone to go to if they have problems. I don't always provide the answers, but I provide resources for them. So we have materials that is available for them. We have an app on the phone that they can look up, and there are resources there. And if they need to talk to someone, I'm available 24/7. And so I can come and meet them at off site, off the job. So I'm not interrupting their work schedule.
Yeah, right.
Keep
productivity up.
That's right. I never want to interrupt the flow of work.
Yeah.
And so we get meet for coffee or whatever we want to do, and just be a voice or be an ear to them, and perhaps a voice for them if necessary.
So now you've been a preacher
Mhm.
or a pastor or,
Mhm.
or whatever you call that. But you're not preaching. You're not trying to convert people.
No, not at all.
This is not a religious thing. This is a mental health. You can go spiritual if you need to, or you can just help them with
I respond
marriage,
to what their
funerals,
need is.
weddings, that
Mhm.
kind of stuff.
I respond to what their need is.
Okay.
And if it's a spiritual need, I'll respond to that.
Sure.
If it's not, then I don't push it.
Yeah.
But you're right. If they have a family member that's in the hospital, I'll go visit them. If there's a funeral that needs to be done, I'm available to do that. I'll marry them if they want.
I know this is the thing I appreciate about you, Steve, is we lost Harold Waters, the
Mhm.
founder of the company, a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
And I reached out.
Mhm.
There's an app for Marketplace Chaplains
Mhm.
via email or text or whatever. So I reached out, said, Steve, hey, we just lost Lisa's dad.
Mhm.
Want to let you know. And you were right there all over the family. You helped us out. You were there at the service. You didn't officiate the service, but you were just there. You were just there.
Mhm.
It was comforting to have you there. Marketplace Chaplains. So I had my assistant. He had a son that got ill in
Mhm.
Connecticut.
Mhm.
And so I said, hey, reach out to Steve. He's got chaplains over there too. He
Right.
can have someone meet you over there. So it's there for the staff member, our
Mhm.
team, is there for their direct family as well.
Right.
So you reach out in so
Yeah, it's
many
not
ways.
just for the employee; it's for their
Yeah.
family. Anyone that is connected with them in that respect.
Yeah.
And I've even helped people who have left the position.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've left the
There we go.
company, and I continue to
Sure.
work with them.
Yeah.
And so because I'm committed to the individual, not just
Yeah.
to the company.
Right.
And so for me, yes, I am committed to the company, but the company is made up of people.
Yeah.
And so I want to help the people, and that goes for everyone, not just the part-time worker, is for the full-time worker. It's also for management. It's also, as you mentioned, with your father-in-law, and so it doesn't matter. And then whatever they say to me, whatever is communicated to me is confidential.
Yeah.
So I don't share it with anyone else in the company. I don't tell tales. It's completely confidential. So they have.
I've never had anyone come back and say or shared, or it's very private, just between you and them.
Yeah, right.
They'll give me a report just saying, oh, there were 20 people that had connections.
Right.
That's all I get.
That's from Marketplace.
For Marketplace.
Yes, right.
So they'll let me know through the app, oh, there was this many conversations.
Right.
But I don't know what they are. I don't know.
I
don't know if they're griping about me. I don't know, which I'm sure that's a lot of them.
I'm doing my job, but,
Yeah.
but not specifically the communication that goes on. Matter of fact, they don't know the communication that goes on.
Okay.
So all they get from me is the number
Good.
of people I visited. So
Yeah.
Unless there's something that I don't know how to deal with, and it's over my head or something I've not experienced yet, I may go to my supervisor, someone, without mentioning the company or the name of the individual, to say, here's a situation. What do you suggest?
Yeah.
And I'll get some feedback that way, so that I can get some assistance.
So you mentioned other resources. You're available to them. What are some of those other resources? So,
well, we have video blogs that are online. We have
for marriage or for financial or
marriage
whatever.
Anxiety.
Gotcha.
Work stress, things like that. We even have issues relating to suicide. So that
Gotcha.
a lot of people don't want to say, "Hey, I've got a problem with that."
Yeah.
But they will read something about it because it's very confidential. Only they know about it.
Yeah.
And so it will be something that will be helpful and hopefully encourage them and put them on the right path.
You have gotten us through, just you directly. So it's Marketplace Chaplains. Yes, you work for them, and I hire them to take care of my team. But you're the one. You got us through that whole COVID thing, which was terrifying.
It was for a lot of people.
For the team. And so it was all about leadership. At that event was all about leadership, bringing your people, making sure they're safe. I think physically, mentally, spiritually. You helped us with that spiritual thing. We're a very physical place. We have to be very mental because it's like you got to do the job. You got to make the margins and do all the turns, get the inventory and all that stuff. But I think the spiritual piece of it, that we are more than just a body. And so you seem to help us get through that fear, to come back motivated, to teamwork, to want to work together. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's huge. And so I'm a testimony for Marketplace Chaplains. Now, some of my buddies out in Phoenix, they don't call them chaplains. They call them
care partners.
Care partners. That's it.
Yeah.
So
and because we don't want to emphasize the religious aspect of it to put people off. That's not our purpose.
Yeah.
Our purpose is to come alongside and be a help. The whole program began by the man who organized it some 40 years ago. He was retired from the military as a chaplain. And he said, why can't what I do with the military, why can't we do that in the marketplace?
Sure.
And that's how the idea all formed.
Yeah.
And it only started with one or two companies, and then it just grew from that. And we have over 600 companies now we represent. I'm not even sure what the stats are.
It's changing by the week, I'm sure.
All the time. So whatever I would say would probably be out of date.
Yeah.
But we have, it's national. And I think even somewhat international, because I think we go into Canada and Mexico. And
I know you're, because I got a buddy that has a factory down in, I think, Costa Rica.
Right.
And so he's got a Dallas and there. He's going back and forth.
Yeah.
So he flies his two chaplains down twice a year to meet with the Hispanic team down there.
I told my manager that I would be very glad to have company in Paris, but it just hasn't come about yet.
We are out of time, but Steve Button, the chaplain at Waters Garden Center. Thank you I just thought it'd be good to share
I'm glad
what that's all about. Yeah. And it's not, we're not trying to change the world. We're just trying to make our world a little bit better
Right.
for our team members. You
We
help
want
us
them to be as
immensely.
successful on the job as they can be. And this is one way to get them there.
If employers are out there want to know more, reach out to me. I'll be glad to share or get you in contact with Steve Button with Marketplace Chaplains, or they got a great website. All right, that is it for this segment. Be right back after this. Waters Garden companion plants in February are peony, lily of the valley, pinyon pines, and Calgary carpet juniper.
Calgary carpet juniper shows rich green mounds of juniper beauty that grows ankle high for the perfect ground cover.
An ideal choice for low water, low care erosion control on natural banks or to soften that rock lawn.
The perfect green nestled between boulders or to soften the top edge of a retaining wall.
Shop for these juniper beauties in Prescott by store or online at watersgardencenter.com.
You're listening to garden expert Ken Lain. He can be found throughout the week at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Thanks for tuning in to the Top 10 Garden Show.